I'm the lead.
I'm Dr. John.
And here's another installment of Enough Already. Tonight we're gonna go over our interviews a little bit that we had at the fair. They're pretty cool.
And a bunch of other stuff has been going on, huh?
Yeah, well, it's been a busy week. So.
And sorry, last week Ed was under the weather, so we missed a week.
I was straight up sick. I might even had COVID. Anyway.
No, you didn't. You just had the flu. Music!
Music, Maestro.
Dropping knowledge bombs on the mic. Dr. John keeps it straight and making sure it's tight. Together they're a force, a broadcast.
There's beer in there, cool.
Bringing truth and wisdom, reaching for the sky.
So what's going on, Ed?
Well, let's talk about our interviews a little bit. John and I did a little man on the street thing.
I want to do something really quick.
Okay.
Banner up here, Robert's Graphics over in Brunswick, Ohio. Devious Dan.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give him a little shout out again because he donated it to us. Dan's a great guy. You need some graphics done, vans, signs, any kind. Go look him up, Pearl Road in Brunswick.
Looks great, too.
He does a good job and he's an honest man. Now,
we also got this from Young's Graphics and 3D Graphics and Designs. It's pretty cool.
over in Ashland, Ohio.
Yep, Ashland, Ohio.
Go look him up.
Find him on Facebook.
And our IT guy.
Yeah, our IT guy.
What's his business?
What is your business?
Trusky Technology.
Say what?
Trusky Technology.
Trusky Technology. The guy does independent IT work for companies. Look him up too because he's an awesome dude.
Yeah, here in Ashland, right? Predominantly.
All right.
He helps us out a lot. And he's cool. He's
So-
not a communist.
Not a communist. That's the best thing. You hire a guy that's not a communist. So what was he talking about?
Our interviews. Me and John did a man on the street, our own little version at the Ashland County Fair.
It's a
That's
good time.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's our local fair here in Ohio, and it's not surprisingly we both knew quite a few people there, and we were just basically asking what they were who they were gonna vote for and why, and
Go ahead.
basically we live in a predominantly red area, so it wasn't surprising that it was mostly Trump people, and we did have one Kamala supporter,
Leave it alone.
and
Leave it alone.
not surprisingly, she was just like most Kamala supporters. They're basically one-issue supporters. They're one-issue voters, which is abortion, basically. So they'll say women's rights, but the only women's right they're talking about is the right to kill.
Well, that was only our one interview, and she was a really nice gal, Chrissy.
Yeah, she was nice. She
And,
was a nice lady.
and she had some friends, and we all had a really good time. They were like, "Oh, you guys are Trump guys, and you're so nice." But
Well, we respect people's
here's what
opinions.
getting me about the whole interview you had with her, and I let her talk. I wanted to ask her questions. You probably wanted to ask her questions, didn't you? But we just let her talk.
I want to push back on a few things that she was saying, like the unemployment rate and all that kind of stuff that they were claiming that was going on. That
Well,
basically
yeah.
was not right. And just like she says it in the video, it all depends on what media you're looking at and who you listen to.
Here's my thing about the women's rights. She was him-hawing around, going into women's rights. I'm trying to figure out what rights did you women lose when Trump was in office? But basically all circled back around to the one issue thing, right? Abortion.
Abortion.
And I'm like, okay, so you're voting on abortion. But here's what I don't understand about women's rights, okay? They got these guys dressing up, identifying as women. They're in men's sports or beauty pageants or anything that's women only, and they're winning all the contests.
Yeah.
So
Seven records.
how is that women's rights when go guys, you're winning all the contests, and the women are happy about it? They're getting beat up by guys. That's not women's rights.
Well,
that's taking
that's
rights away from women.
Exactly.
When are they going to get off their ass and go, hey, I'm tired of this shit. The guy's taking over
Right.
and winning everything, and us women are getting left in the dust.
Well, that's exactly what I mean by a one-issue voter. They're blinded by this whole abortion thing that they don't even realize
And I understand.
that they're losing another way. And another thing that drives me crazy is they're voting for Democrats, and basically all the way. I mean, the Democrats were the party of slavery, the KKK. They kept women from voting like another 10, 12 years by voting against it. Basically, every civil rights bill that's ever come out and finally passed, every Democrat's tried to vote it down. So it just does, if people did a little research on this thing. We had Andre on our show. He was pretty knowledgeable about those sort of things, and he brought that up too, that the fact that the Democrats basically voted down every civil rights bill there ever was.
Well, yeah, they always have.
And they went to war to try to keep slavery.
And they did. They did go to war to try to keep
They
slavery.
sure did. And they lost, thank God they lost. But anyway, they've been pissed off ever since.
And then the gals at the Republican booth, they were pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they're a couple,
Had a good time with them
couple
gals.
old girls, and basically educated us a little bit about the issue one, where it's just a reoccurring theme where the Democrats want to redistrict our voting areas, and
You keep going, Ed. I'm drawing a picture for everybody.
okay.
So, issue 1, here's how this is working. See, this is blue. This is red. Maybe this is red. But we got a highly populated city here. Okay, so they're getting lots and lots of votes. What they want to do is like, well, this is a heavy red area, but we could carve this off, okay, this little space where it's heavy, and put it in this blue area so that these blue votes will override that.
Right.
But what happens is it depletes this red area so that their blue votes be more potent, and then they can take this area over too. So what they're trying to do is carve out the heavy red areas, put them in the blue areas of high populated cities, so that they can take over all the areas.
And this-
that commercial on TV is bullshit about the gerrymandering
right.
stuff. That's a complete lie.
Well, this is the third time in 10 years they've tried this, John, and in 2015 it was voted down by over 70% of the state, and again in 2018, but now they've come back with more fancy words and, kind of stuff like that. Gerrymandering is exactly what they're trying to do for themselves.
Yeah, it's not stopping gerrymandering.
Like
So
to-
vote no, issue 1, people. We're telling you
Exactly,
that's the way you got to go.
I mean, that's for all of if you want your vote, especially people in the rural areas, you definitely don't want this. Your vote will basically be non-existent if it
Yeah,
passes.
you won't count at all, at least in the state of Ohio.
And while we're talking about voting,
Yeah, what?
let's not forget about Bernie Moreno,
Marino over here.
Judge Dan Hawkins, Supreme Court, Miss Shanahan from the Supreme Court,
And Judge Dieters.
Judge Dieters.
We got to get those people in there.
And of course, we don't want Sherrod Brown, so you definitely want Bernie Moreno and Trump. Definitely vote for Trump. Actually, anything with an R beside their name is what you're looking
Sherrod
for.
Brown's got the worst hairstylist I ever seen.
Well, I think
Sorry.
the local town wino is barber, I think.
Gotta name him Otis. It'll be
That guy
Otis
is so
Brown.
funny.
Got his own bed.
Hey,
Local-
also, Saturday, President Trump's going back to the scene of the crime. He's going to go finish his rally in Butler, PA. Now, I don't care who you are. That takes balls.
Well, yeah, he got shot
He
at.
almost lost his life there, and he's going back to finish it. They're going to do a little memorial to Corey Kapoor, man, his name's hard to say.
Who?
The fireman that was murdered at the scene there.
Just that gentleman.
And they're going to have the survivors there too, and it's going to be a pretty cool event. And at last I heard, Trump's up like 3 points in Pittsburgh or in Pennsylvania. So that's
I don't believe that. I don't believe these polls are as close as they're saying because
I agree.
I think they're doing that in
Well, we
order
know-
that way they try to pull some shenanigans and they get away with it and say, oh, well, she won because look how close the polls were. I think that's complete bullshit.
right.
I don't think it's even close.
You
But
got
if
a
they
lot-
say it's not close, then they can't pull any shenanigans.
Well, it's that a lot of Trump voters are kind of silent about it. Like we noticed it at the fair. There's
I'm not silent about it.
No, we're not silent about it. But we noticed it at the fair. There was a lot of people that would talk to us, but not on camera. That were
Two
completely.
Democrat gentlemen stand behind us. We heard them talking, then we offered to interview them. Oh, no.
No, they wouldn't talk to us about anything because they heard us interview that Emily.
Yeah.
And heard how she's pro.
That's why we got to vote Democrat, they said.
She's pro-life and she's pro-Trump, and she gave her reasons, which were all good reasons why she thinks the way she does and is voting the way she is. And the gentleman that was standing behind us didn't particularly like what the interview was and didn't want to be any part of it. They were even kind of rude to
And
us.
so now let me ask you something. What about this crap in North Carolina?
Well, it's not just North Carolina, John. It's
And
Eastern Tennessee,
Tennessee
Virginia,
and Georgia, but I'm saying,
even South
in
Carolina.
the South. What about this in our southern United States here? What happened?
Well-
And how our government all of a sudden said, well, look, we gave all the money away. We gave all the money from FEMA to the immigrants to take care of them, and there's no money left for you.
Like $681 million or something like that.
Damn near $1 billion.
Was it? Yeah, out of the FEMA account went to take care of illegal immigrants.
Yeah, and now they said, well, we're sorry, but there's no more money for hurricane season. We can't help anybody. You guys just, well, here's $750, Ed.
Right. And you don't hear about it on mainstream media. They're not covering the recovery efforts
Oh, no.
or anything on the news. It's all like being swept under the rug like it didn't even happen. And the reason, we all know why that looks bad on, you know, if you think back, if you guys can remember back when Hurricane Katrina happened and George Bush flew over and said it, that he flew over the devastation, the Democrats basically crucified him over it. And the whole reason he just flew over is because there was so much stuff going on the ground. He didn't want to hamper efforts with the security and the Secret Service and all
So
that.
who's flowed over the South?
Well,
Anybody?
well, they haven't really flown there, really. I mean,
Harris just went to the border for the first time in 3.5 years,
Right.
and I don't think anybody's been to Georgia, North Carolina, or Tennessee.
well, she popped off and read off a card too that they were giving everybody $750 and acting like that was a gift.
For those people that need it. If you need
Right.
the kiss my ass. $750 ain't gonna do shit.
And if you can help these people, find a place to donate money, food, perishables, whatever, non-perishables. These people are in desperate need. There's still hundreds and hundreds of people they haven't even found yet, John. It's one of the most tragic things that's ever happened in this country.
Well, it's a tragedy.
And the left-wing media is not even reporting
And
it.
I'm tired of the fact that we can send billions of dollars to Ukraine. We can spend billions of dollars on these immigrants that don't belong here,
Right.
and didn't come over right. And then when something happens to our people in our country, well, we don't have any money left. Now, people need to think about that, because that's our government in action. It could be you, and all of a sudden they're going to say, well, we don't have any money to help you. You're just fend for yourself.
John, I was reading an article where in the state of Maine, they have these immigrants from Africa, from the Congo. They've put up in these high-dollar apartment buildings. Now, if you and I wanted to rent a one-bedroom apartment, it would be $1,800 a month. And these people have it for free for 2 years, along with food and medical, and all that stuff's included
Well,
in it.
enough already.
Yeah, that is definitely
We've had
enough
enough.
already. All right, let's touch on JD and Tim Walz. It was kind of fun. I don't know if everybody watched it was probably one of the most polite debates I've
Yeah,
ever
it
seen
was
in
very
my life.
polite. I was surprised.
I think the world was a little surprised to see that JD Vance was as smart and polite and well-spoken, especially after the left-wing media tried to convince everybody he was weird.
Oh, how weird he is.
and crazy and stuff. And now they're saying his beard.
Here's the weird guy. It's Tim Walz. Oh.
Or writing on
Oh.
his paper for a second. But there are a few things about Tim Walz. You know, he was nervous. I get it. You know, and when he was cornered, he basically didn't know what to say. You know, he like at one point
Said I misspoke.
right.
That's the
And
polite
that's-
way of saying I lied.
Well, he says that a lot. You know? Well, when they asked him about lying about China, he popped up. The first thing he started talking about was when he was a kid in Nebraska riding his bike out. You know, and he was proud of that service.
He's probably lying about that too.
And then he went on to say he was friends with school shooters. That was pretty cool. I mean, I don't know why he would have said that, but I understand he was nervous. But that he was a lot more likable than I thought he was going to be. You know, he's a public speaker. He's a school teacher. You know, he's been in command of troops when he was in the National Guard and whatnot. So speaking in front of people shouldn't be a problem for him. But J.D. Vance definitely was way better, way more prepared, way more spoken, way more knowledgeable. And I think Trump and Vance actually won some votes during that debate.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure. Anybody that was on the fence, well, they actually had some.
I pretty much think the only people they're worried about changing their minds now are the people who are undecided, because the people on both sides are not going
Right.
to change their
Yeah,
mind.
there's not-
If they're set, they're set. You're not going to change a Democrat's mind right now, and you're
So
not
they
changing
had
a Republican's
they
mind.
had a focus group there, John. I forget exactly where it was done, but they had two undecided, 2 Trump voters, and 2 Kamala voters. The Trump voters stayed the same. The Kamala voters stayed the same. But the 2 undecided said they were going to vote for Trump.
Yeah, and that's the ones they're looking to get now, because you're not changing anybody's political view now this close to the election, unless something crazy happens.
Right. Well, you can always expect an October surprise, and with the Iranians hacking the Trump campaign website and all that stuff, you can expect, you know, Jack White or Black or whatever his name is, the prosecutor came out with basically the same charges against Trump. He just changed the wording a little bit so he could refile it.
Who?
What's the prosecutor's name?
I missed that because you were babbling. I was looking at Paula.
He's his name's escaped me for some reason. He's the prosecuting attorney that's trying to get Trump on the January 6th stuff. Jack something.
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith, that's it.
He's a scoundrel and a snake.
Well, you know, he tried it before. The Supreme Court said,
Probably.
Listen, no, he's definitely a scoundrel and a snake. But he basically came back again. The only thing he changed the wording was from private to public or whatever. And, you know, it's just going to get thrown out again. It was just basically a smear tactic.
All right, Ed, it's 3-minute rant time. But the timer's getting all screwed up, so now we're at like
What is
35 minutes to go to. I don't know, I twisted it too much for some damn thing. But it's working. It's just, but it's just in a different time
You
zone.
want me to just set the timer on the computer?
No, it's in a different time zone. That's all. We're just,
Somebody get a stopwatch.
what's the rant?
Well, tonight we're going to rant about woke ball clubs changing their name.
Professional sport teams and their racist names, according to
Right.
3 people standing on a corner.
Yeah, I think there was 3 people. But there are some names I can understand. Like the Washington Generals used to be the Washington Bullets. And I can understand how that might promote gun violence or whatever. The Bullets, you know, I can get it. Or the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. They just now are now the Tampa Bay Rays, you know. We all know they're Devil Rays.
Well, I can't believe they would get rid of the word devil in this society.
Well, it's Florida.
Oh.
But this is what pisses me off, and it's my beloved Indians are now called the Guardians. I've yet to watch.
Don't that suck?
I've yet to watch a single Guardians ball club, and I hope Detroit whips their
And I
asses
still won't.
tomorrow.
I still won't call them the Guardians. This is just dumber than shit. There was nothing wrong with Chief Wahoo and the Indians.
I got Chief Wahoo tattooed on my legs, 18 years ago, something like that.
Who's thinking it's disrespectful?
Now suddenly it's racist.
No, it's in remembrance.
My favorite one,
It's,
though,
it's
John.
heritage of our country because
I agree.
there was the Native American Indians were here and they named sports teams after them. I think it's more of a compliment. I don't
Well,
know
the
who's
Indians
bitching. It's a racist thing because I never viewed it that way as those damn Indians.
Well, the Indians got their
I
name
always
because
thought it
they
was-
were the first major league team to put Native American Indians on their ball club.
Yeah, but I'm going and the Redskins. They got they're
the
filing a lawsuit trying to get the name back.
Man, I like if you watch the Redskins, you got the crowd going, "Go commies, go commies!"
I'm more offended by the name Commanders because it reminds me of the
Oh,
bullshit idiots that are running our government and they think they're commanders and they're bossing us
And the
around.
Cleveland Guardians had to buy their name from the roller derby group that was in Cleveland.
And then we still have the Chiefs, and we still got the Braves, and
Yep. and the Seminoles, and
we got. Those are all fine. And Kansas City Chiefs are the darlings of the NFL.
and they keep winning the Super Bowl. You
Well,
know?
that's because
if they suck, they'd have to change
That's
their
because the
name.
referees are part of the Kansas City Chiefs organization.
But you don't hear anybody complaining about that. I think Chiefs is actually more. I'm not really anybody to be offended for anything, but I think if there was going to be an offensive thing, Chiefs would be far more offensive than Indians
Or Redskins.
or Braves.
Yeah,
You know?
Chiefs.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't understand.
Well, they give that one little kid hell because he wore a headdress or something.
Well, no, he had half his face black and half of it red, and the camera only caught the side that was black. So you had some left-wing reporter, you can't call him journalist, but he's claiming that he was wearing blackface.
No,
Well, he got rich off of it, just like Nick Sandman did from when he was at the march, and the Indian guy that jumped his ass.
but renaming these sports teams because of the names is just ridiculous.
I think they're all going to go back to Indians.
Go home
They're
and
gonna go back
cry
to the
in your
Redskins.
panties, you worthless piece of shit loudmouth, because nobody cares.
Don't you have anything better to do? And I just can't accept it. I've got friends that are like, I'm over it, but I just can't accept it, dude. I've been an Indians fan since I can remember.
I say, the Indians are playing. They're Guardians. I go, I don't know who the
I don't even
Guardians
know
are.
who they are. I say the same thing. I won't even want.
And I bet they're going to win the World Series because they changed their name to Guardians and they just scripted it into the thing. Oh, look, they changed their name. They're not racist. Now they're the Guardians. Now they can win.
Well, they're still from Cleveland, so I expect them to get knocked out by Detroit.
But it is ridiculous, this stupid renaming your team
Yeah,
because
it is
of that.
crazy. Anyway,
Man, I must have sat there for like 30 minutes, Ed.
well,
30-minute rant's over.
maybe
3-minute rant.
I think our timer got caught in a hurricane.
Oh,
All right, back to the show here.
that's from China. What do you expect?
I want to talk about the longshoreman strike that ended today.
That's pretty funny how that happened.
Listen, did you hear their representative? Have you get a chance to heard that guy? He is like straight up mobster.
Oh, God.
He shows up for the negotiations
I told
in
the
a
son of a
Bentley.
bitch to come over to my house and I take that smile off his face because I don't like the way he talks. I mean, I know he wants to be tough and sound like he's all, but
Right.
come on, man.
Anyway, Ron DeSantis basically ended their whole charade
He thinks he's Jimmy Hoffa.
simply by saying, screw you guys, I'm going to send my National Guard in there to unload boats and load boats, and they all know how to run that equipment, so you guys can go cry in your room. Now, I'm not knocking. They do need more money, John.
Well, I'm disagreeing the fact that they don't maybe need more pay raises.
I don't know if they need a
some more money.
70% pay raise.
And they also need
but
some protection from automation taking away from their jobs. I get it.
I get it too.
And I understand, but you're going about it all wrong. And the guy you got leading you out is going about it all wrong.
Right. You can't hold the country hostage.
And you can't say you're going to hold us hostage and you're going to do all this bullshit because
Right.
you're going about it all wrong, dude. And you need to do it a little bit better. I'm not saying you need to be like a pussy.
And straight up, if we had a
just saying
stronger,
that you
if
gotta
we had a
do it
stronger
better.
president, there wouldn't have been a day missed there.
Well, they didn't pay. I think maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking they were probably unhappy that they started the strike right before the election because it was going to make them look bad too.
Right.
And Ron
Oh.
DeSantis stepped in and they probably went in and said, hey, look, you got to do this later because we're trying to win an election. The Democrats did.
Right.
And you can't be making us look bad right now.
I'll guarantee you, if Trump's president, they would have never pulled that shit. I mean, they
Trump
might,
would have been down there negotiating and said, hey,
right. They might have. They
you
might
can't
have.
be doing this. We got to work out a deal and got both sides together and started talking.
The funny thing about it, John, is I never even heard it was coming until it happened. You know what I mean? It was like 2 or 3 days prior to the strike happening. It's the first time I ever heard it. And I'm on the news, and I listen to a lot of programs. I pay attention to a lot of different news shows and programs, and never heard a word about it until just like 2 days prior to it actually happening.
I'm all for the hard physical labor working man making more money instead of all these cats that don't do anything.
Right.
Cashing in all the big bucks and standing around watching everybody work. I think the hard labor working man needs to make more money. We're the ones doing it. I've done physical labor all my life.
Right.
We're tearing our bodies up. We're working hard, and I think they deserve everything they can get.
I don't think they should have sent a millionaire in there to negotiate for
But
him.
that
He's
guy's a
gotten rich
millionaire,
off
and then
of
his
him.
kid runs the thing in New York, and he makes $700,000 because
Right.
he's the president of the New
Right.
York division. And I'm not against unions at all. I think unions are the greatest thing. But what you guys in the union got to realize is it's not you guys working in the unions. It's your administration that's running things, that's gotten corrupt, that's taking advantage
Right.
of things. And they. I got a friend that worked in the union, and he just retired. You know what? They don't give two shits about him now. He's been trying to get his retirement, getting things straightened out. All of a sudden, everything's a big hassle. Nobody's standing up for him. You know why? Because they ain't getting no more money out of him.
Right.
They're done collecting money. Now they got to pay him. Now I don't care about him because they can't get no more money out of him. So they're like, yeah, we'll see what we can do. And he's had to fight tooth and nail to get his stuff straightened out himself.
Right.
Nobody backing him up. Nobody helping him because he's done paying, and he's supposed to be getting his retirement. So that's how the unions actually are treating people.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say bad things. I love the people that work in the union, and they deserve their money.
I can
but you
understand.
gotta straighten out your administration, just like it's the same as our government. They've become corrupt.
I can understand the longshoremen too, worried about the automation and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, I get it.
They went basically all automated on the West Coast, and it cost like over 600 people their jobs. You know what I mean? So I can understand them being a little worried.
They got to
about it.
protect their jobs.
But at the same time, you know, technology moves forward, things move forward. I mean, we all drive cars now, when our ancestors were in Amish buggies. You know what I mean? It's just.
My ancestors
we're
were
all-
no Amish buggy.
We're all walking around with cell phones in our pockets now when we used to have to
Computer in your pocket.
Right. When we used to have to stand in the kitchen and talk to people, and it's just time marches on basically. But I understand it, and there's got to be a way to, you know, we go back to the retirement thing. There's got to be a way to just slowly move into the automation without saying you're fired. You know what I mean? People retiring, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, I think, was all wrong, and their spokesperson just sounded like a street thug, you know, trying to take your money. Yeah, you're just not starting and holding America hostage doing that, but you're basically holding the entire world economy.
Is that about it, Ed?
Yeah, we're finished.
We're finished, people.
That is all for today.
Hey.
So we'll be back next week.
EdDrJohn@gmail.com. If you watch the whole thing, email us, tell us what you think. Make comments on our videos. Thanks for watching.
We'll be back next week. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. Cause
Ed's still a little under weather, I think.
a little
He
bit.
ain't answering quite right. I might smack him around after the video.
I'm feeling a little better though. Anyway,
So,
I'm the lead,
I'm Dr. John.
and we'll see you next week.
Enough already. Thanks for watching, people. Music, maestro. Maybe. It's not working. See the technical difficulties we go through. This is a blooper end of the
Well,
reel.
we're news though. I mean, give us a
And
break.
Dr. John gonna get it right. Doing the time. It's all tight. He keeps it straight. Yeah, okay.
Uh-oh.
It's not doing anything.
Well, anyhow, we won't have no music
She's
tonight.
struggling.
Thanks for watching, people. We'll have music next time. Reaching for the sky. Ed and Dr. John. Enough already broadcast.